Talking on the Coors Light Happy Hour, and it's Wednesday, so we do our sailing segment today, and we're going to extend it a little bit because I've been joined in the studio by my old mate, Captain Fatty Goodlander, circumnavigator, author, raconteur. I don't know what else can I add to that?
I don't know. So far, I've been out of jail. I'm doing pretty good, really.
Okay, jailbird too. And Fatty's here. He's been just finished, actually, or not long ago finished his second circumnavigation, and he's based in St John's again, which is his home port. How's things changed in St John's?
Well, things have changed in St. John. When I first started living there in the 70s, there were 700 people on the island, and most of them were as broke as I was. Now there's occasionally 7,000 people, and a lot of those we have something. We have a few hundred people worth more than 100 million, and it's definitely a little change there. On the other hand, there's no rock in the world that has more people that I love, and they're still there, and that's why I'm there.
Now you've been bouncing around a little bit too. You we're up in the Seattle, I believe. You flew up there to give a seminar.
Well, if people are far enough away from you, they can get the wrong impression and think that you have some value. And they paid me to go up to Port Townsend and spend a weekend up there, and it was really great fun. And we got to talk with all the wooden boat freaks up there and all the varnished Nazis, and just had a great time. I must say, I was very impressed with the whole thing. I mean, they're just absolutely intoxicated. I think Cuprinol has leaked into the water system 100 years ago. I mean, they're just totally, the women carry caulking mallets there. I mean, it's really bizarre.
Is it true that they also paid you to leave?
No, exactly. Well, that's why I've been doing a lot of music. I don't know if you realize, but I wasn't really doing very well as a musician, as a guitar player. And they said I sang worse than Bob Dylan, which I thought was a rather bad sign. But when these bars want to close, you know what I mean? They want to get the drunks out. I just come and I play like half a number, and they're gone.
The unleash Fatty, get rid of the drunks. All right. What? I know you're a musician. I've heard you play, and I was quite impressed actually. When you strumming the guitar, I was even more impressed when you put the strings on it. But what kind of music do you like?
Well, I love.
And how important is music to you?
Well, I actually started out. I didn't think I could be a writer. I didn't think it was within my capabilities of being a writer because I didn't know how to spell and I didn't know anything about grammar. And somebody told me one time that I had a dangling participle. I thought I had my fly was open. I didn't know. And so I set out to be a songwriter. I figured if Bob Dylan could do it and Mick Jagger, I didn't have the lips that Jagger had. I was always kind of trying to get some sort of a Botox thing there on the lips going. And while I was trying to be a writer, and while I was trying to be a songwriter, I actually became a writer, which was actually my dream. So I put down the guitar for about 30 or 40 years. And luckily, a friend of mine named Joe Colpit, he's a multi-hull sailor. He owns a boat called Virgin Fire. One day, he kind of announced that he wanted to be a rock star. Joe, you're 60. I mean, is now really the time that you should, exercise your rock star fantasies, But he actually did start to become a rock star right in front of my very eyes, and went from kind of a quiet, timid guy to a rock star. I couldn't believe it. And pretty soon he had groupies. Most of the groupies were 80s, and they were in wheelchairs, but still groupies. So I was like really impressed, and I decided that I would follow in his footsteps. We really have been having a great time with the music, even though I must say what I love is it's a mind vacation for me, and it does use some of the same skills that I have as an entertainer. I'm actually a prose entertainer. I'm not a writer. I'm a guy who entertains people with words.
Okay, well we'll get back to the music here on Island 92 for a second. Then we'll come back to Fatty again, and we'll talk a bit more about his voyaging. You're listening to the Coors Light Happy Hour here on Island 92. There I am, and we've got Captain Fatty Goodlander in the studio with me to help me to talk about sailing, because it's our sailing news segment, and of course brought to you every week by Ocean Media. Fatty, second circumnavigation, when you came around this time, you went via the Red Sea, and you wrote a very, very interesting book about your adventures coming up the Red Sea. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, it was certainly the most difficult thing I'd done in terms of danger, and I really didn't want to. I don't think of myself as an adventurous person at all. I certainly don't think of myself as any kind of a risk taker. If I could have, I would have once again went around the Cape of Good Hope, but I wanted to see my granddaughter born. I wanted to, or my wife wanted to be there while that was happening, and the only way to do that was to go up the Red Sea. We decided to do it. We thought it was doable. We discussed this with two other people, Robert and Tom, and we decided that we'd take 3 boats and do that. But when the word went out in Thailand and Malaysia that we were going to do that, a number of people came to us and said, gee, could we join you? It seemed only gentlemanly to say, of course. That turned into 27 vessels traveling 1,000 open miles in the sea under various weather conditions, all within 100 yards of each other. Extremely stressful, to put it mildly. And of course we had boats that were everything from 80-foot high-speed, beautiful multi-hulls and mono-hulls to 20-foot warm cats with they couldn't possibly even power at 4 knots. And what a mix of people we had. I was happy and pleased and delighted with all of them. I love them. I'd do it again with every one. But it was difficult. And of course the pirates are actually coming in to scope you out. Their motherships are launching boats and deciding, kind of debating whether they want to take you or not. So it's very difficult, to put it mildly. And I was worried that during this time span we might hear of a pirate incident in the Gulf of Aden. I hoped it would be far away, but I hoped we wouldn't hear about one. We hoped there would be no pirate activity when we were there. That was naive of me. In actuality, every single day we heard actual pirate attacks. These aren't warnings or, maybe there's a suspicious boat. These are boats actually under attack at that moment by the pirates. We were hearing these on VHF. It goes 20 miles. I mean, you can hear Bart, you can't hear Antigua. So this was really serious. And I probably wouldn't do it if I'd have known what was going to happen. But of course, the very next year was the year that Gene and Scott got murdered on Quest. So I don't think it's doable anymore. I wouldn't recommend it.
No, very, very tragic. Now let's play some more music, and when we come back, we'll talk about the cost of cruising, which has escalated almost off the scale. That's Captain Fatty Goodlander there talking to me about his experiences in the Red Sea. Have some more music, and then we'll be right back. Sugarloaf there, and don't call us, we'll call you. And we're calling now Captain Fatty Goodlander, who's with me in the studio for our sailing segment, brought to you by Ocean Media. Fatty, 2 circumnavigations, things have changed tremendously, and one of the things that we've all noticed, of course, is the cost of sailing, how it's escalated, how it's really, really gone off the scale. You were talking about coming through the Mediterranean and the prices in Europe.
Well, I'm afraid the Med's, quite expensive in places, and my friend Dave Dostal there on Rob Roy paid $125 for a night's dockage, and it wasn't even a very nice night, a very calm harbor or a good dock. And of course, a lot of times as you come in, one price is quoted, and then you don't realize that there's a few additional charges there, and then the port guy wants his fee, and people are kind of lining up, sharing the uniform, and people seem to think that you're a cash cow, that you've come here to disperse money.
You're sharing the uniform.
Exactly. Yeah, and you got one uniform, but 7 guys are wearing it, and each one wants a piece of the action. It gets a little comical sometimes when you're in a third world nation and this is all adding up to $7. But when you're suddenly adding up to $200, of course, it's not comical at all. The fact of the matter is it's getting to the point where I'm skipping whole countries just because I don't want to come up with $400, to clear into the country.
It's a scam.
It's a scam, it seems to me, and they're not giving you anything for it. I mean, you pull into the most expensive countries, can you tie up your dinghy anywhere? No. Is there any security? No. Is there any garbage disposal? No. Is there any pump-out facility? No. So, I don't mind paying for value, and I believe in leaving a clean wake. But I don't think that the word yachtsman and victim are synonyms.
Right. And what about the rules and regulations? I mean, they're getting applied more and more, and they're bringing more and more in.
Well, frankly, I didn't go to Australia this time. I had a good time in Australia before. I stayed there for a year, and I anticipated going back. The regulations in Australia are so ridiculous. You have to have certain papers, and it's impossible to comply with. So the only way to comply is to go to one of their yards and haul out your boat and have them do it. So now suddenly, it's $800 to have your bottom job done in a approved Australian manner, so it couldn't possibly have any, bad chemicals on it. Ridiculous.
Now,
I just skipped it.
The way you're talking, anybody who's thinking about circumnavigating now will be thinking, oh, listen to this guy, he's done it, he knows about it, I'm not going to do it. Is that the right thing to be thinking?
No, I think it's ridiculous. I'm having orgasmic fun circumnavigating. I've never done anything as well that's legal, that's as much fun. And, it's great. What you have to do is be more and more careful of your pennies, and you have to really avoid that, American herd instinct that everybody travels together and stays at the marinas and, has people work on their boat. It's just, but nonetheless, I started out my first circumnavigation with $5,000. I went for 5 years, and I came back dead broke.
Yeah.
My second circumnavigation, which took 7 years, I started out with $4,000 and I came back with $47,000. Now I am working very hard. I work 4 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm on the hustle, I'll admit it. You know, I'm working all the time. My wife also works 20 hours a week. But nonetheless, you can do this, you can afford it. I'm a working guy, and not only do I sail around the world, but I sail around the world and save, you know, $5,000 or $6,000 every year.
Now, you were not only a famous circumnavigator, you're a very, very well-known writer. You write for our publication, my publication, which is all that's I'm the editor of, and that's how we know each other. But you've published many books, and the one that's out now, which is proving incredibly popular, is about doing the going sailing, going cruising on a very, very tight budget. Tell us about that book.
Okay, it's called Buy, Outfit, Sail, and its subtitle is How to Inexpensively and Safely Buy, Outfit, and Sail a Small Vessel Around the World. A lot of people didn't want me to make that long title, and they didn't want the word safety in there, but there is no economy without safety. My idea is that one of the reasons you're so cost conscious is that you can have better safety equipment. I believe that not only should you be able to circumnavigate on a $3,000 boat, which is what Wildcard cost, but I believe while doing that, you could be inherently safer than the $800,000 Oyster. So it's all about safety and economy. And one of the reasons that I believe so strongly in not wasting your money on fancy doodads is because if you have a limited number of pennies, you have to spend them on strength and safety issues. And that's what we do. And it's, you know, I am not a miserly person because I spend my entire income on my boat. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to not spend money. What I am is trying to get the most miles. Not too many people sail on average 8,000 miles a year on a $3,000 boat. I do that. I do it consistently. I enjoy it. My wife's been with me 42 years doing it also. In order to do that, we really have to watch the pennies. We cannot think that we deserve it. We don't have the attitude, well, we're only circumnavigating once. We're not. We're going to circumnavigate another time, maybe another time. You know, who knows? I mean, when you have this much fun, why would anyone stop?
Now, we have about a minute left to go. Tell people how they can get hold of your books.
My books are available at Amazon.com, and they're also available on Kindle. The books have been doing, I think, very well, and they have changed my life from a hand-to-mouth existence where I basically was terrified if I was going to be able to feed my wife next week to a comfortable existence if you watch every penny and you never come ashore.
And finally,
you don't want to get mixed up with dirt dwellers anyway, man. It's nothing but trouble, man.
I know. And finally, anybody who's thinking about circumnavigating and they're not sure they want to do it or they can do it, what would you say? A couple, very briefly, what should they do? You
don't want to spend the rest of your life regretting not living your dreams. I live my dream every single day of my life. I sailed about 8,000 miles. I'm as happy as any man can be.
Thank you. That's Captain Fatty Goodlander there, raconteur, circumnavigator, all-round nice guy, no matter what people say or what he said about himself too. He's a lovely guy, and we thank you for being with us here on our sailing segment brought to you by Ocean Media. And that takes us into our Coors Light entertainment calendar for today, which is, I believe, Wednesday.